Haitian repatriations commence. Police investigate the country's latest homicide and a religious giant laid to rest. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Friday, October 1st. Repatriation exercises for those illegal Haitian migrants on Inagua began this morning from the Matthewtown Airport. 450 Haitian migrants boarded a Bahamas Air flight shortly after 9 this morning. The first group to be repatriated, followed by a second group nearly 2 hours later. Minister of Immigration Keith Bell and Minister of National Security Wayne Munro issuing a joint statement, and it says the government is committed to managing the ongoing Haitian migrant influx. That statement noting that the number one priority of the government is to defend the territorial sovereignty of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas while ensuring that the Bahamian people are protected. To this end, no resources will be spared as all involved agencies work towards addressing this situation. In the face of unprecedented levels of Haitian migrant activity that has inundated countries throughout the region, the government has taken decisive action to scale up operations. These measures have resulted in the interception of migrant levels in the southern waters of the Bahamas, preventing passage into the central Bahamas near New Providence, where they were typically intercepted in past years. The routes to New Providence and other islands have effectively been cornered off. The statement continues that the ministries have also expedited the repatriation process so that the migrants who are currently here can be processed and returned to their country in record time. Now, officials do not yet know how long this spike in illegal migrants will continue. However, the government will continue to work tirelessly on behalf of the Bahamian people, empowering men and women on the front lines and ensuring that the migrants are treated humanely and repatriated swiftly. Four United Nations organizations in a joint statement yesterday urged member states to stop rapid deportations of Haitian migrants without proper assessment of their individual protection needs. This comes off the heels of multiple Haitian apprehensions over the past week and multiple repatriation exercises commencing today. Tyler Simonet has more.
The UN Refugee Agency, the International Organization for Migration, the United Nations Children's Fund, and the UN Human Rights Office call on states to refrain from expelling Haitians without proper assessment of their individual protection needs, to uphold the fundamental human rights of Haitians on the move, and to offer protection mechanisms or other legal stay arrangements for more effective access to regular migration pathways. They're also encouraging countries in the Americas to engage in a comprehensive regional approach to ensure the protection of Haitian men, women, and children moving throughout the region. The statement also notes that the complex social, economic, humanitarian, and political situation and the various catastrophes affecting Haiti have led to different population movements from the impoverished island nation in the past decade. The group adds that Haitians on the move in the Americas comprise of people with different protection needs, profiles, and motivations, including unaccompanied and separated children, victims of trafficking, and survivors of gender-based violence. Some, they say, may have well-founded grounds to request international refugee protection. Others may have other protection needs. The statement also says that international law prohibits collective expulsions and requires that each case be examined individually to identify protection needs under international human rights and refugee law, adding that discriminatory public discourse portraying human mobility as a problem risks contributing to racism and xenophobia and should be avoided and condemned. The group notes that Haiti continues to face an escalation in violence and insecurity, with at least 19,000 people internally displaced in the capital, Port-au-Prince, in the summer of 2021 alone. They say the situation is bound to worsen as a result of the August 14th earthquake straining any capacity to receive returning Haitians. That said, the group believes that conditions in Haiti continue to be dire and not conducive to forced returns. Now, immigration officials have gone on record to indicate that the department will move swiftly in handling this recent influx of migrants. Our news team tried to reach out to Immigration Minister Keith Bell. However, calls were unsuccessful up to news time. For JCN News, I'm Tyler Simonet.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investment and Aviation Chester Cooper touring the Hurricane Hole project developed by Sterling Global Financial over Paradise Island. The facilities will accommodate retail, commercial, residential, and fine dining activities and a super yacht marina. The Deputy Prime Minister shared his thoughts on the first phase of the $250 million project.
I think it's an issue between the employer and the employee. There's some concerns about employees paying, etc. We have a meeting with the senior executive of Atlantis. I can tell you there have been some adjustment in the policy. I don't want to be the one to make those announcements, but suffice to say, we look forward to working hand in hand with our major partners in the tourism industry. We will be having active discussion with the key players, including Atlantis, over the course of the next few weeks. The pandemic has been a very difficult time for business, especially in the tourism space. It's called for adjustments in policy, and I am delighted that we are engaged already, and we will work hand in hand to continue to advance tourism in our country.
President of Sterling Advisory Services, Kalis Roll, says sales are going great and that about 92% of their realties are down and completely sold on the residential side. Asked how many Bahamians are employed, he says this.
During the construction phase, we ran an average of about 150 people per day, and we anticipate Sterling alone would probably have about 70 people employed full-time on the site.
The grand opening of Phase 1 will officially open in January of 2022. Officers from the Criminal Investigation Department are yet again investigating another homicide here in New Providence after an adult male was found shot about the body just at the door entrance of a local business establishment on Robinson Road shortly after 9 o'clock this morning. Here's Police Press Liaison Officer, Assistant Superintendent of Police, Audley Peters, with more details.
When the officers arrived, they met the body of a male lying just outside the door of the business establishment. As they examined the body, they saw where several gunshot wounds were present. The EMS was called in, and on completion of their examination, they pronounced the male lifeless. Initial investigations suggest that the victim, who was an employee of the establishment, was opening for the morning. And as he was doing so, a lone gunman came from behind him from a sudden direction and shot him several times about the body.
The deceased, according to ASP Peters, is believed to be in his late 20s. Now, ASP Peters telling JCN News that technology from the business is assisting detectives with their investigation. This is the third homicide this week. ASP Peters very frank regarding police concerns over the recent homicides.
The concern is simply that individuals have to report to the police persons who are in possession of firearms. Again, somebody know who this individual is, was in possession of this firearm and did not say anything. And so we could knock on it because we didn't have the information. So our concern is members of the public who have knowledge of these persons with firearms to report them to us, whether it be a girlfriend, whether it be a mother, sister, or brother. No one keeps things in isolation. Someone always say something to someone. That's human behavior.
Police are appealing to members of the public, if they have any information, to please come forward. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.